Thanks for joining us. Let's get started with our self-employed webinar. So first of all, I am Casey Sullivan. I am a branch manager and loan officer with the Sullivan Group. We're powered by CrossCountry Mortgage, which is the #1 retail mortgage lender in America. But again, I run the Sullivan Group in a branch, so I'm a loan officer. My wife, Nikki, she also does business development and is our realtor support advocate. We have Nicole, she's our ops manager. Teresa's our pre-approval specialist, and Melissa is our marketing coordinator. Inside of the branch and inside of our support system, we've got loan officers, processing, underwriting, all those roles you hear mortgage lenders talk about. And we are licensed in all 50 states and Puerto Rico here at CrossCountry Mortgage. So happy to help anybody who who might be buying outside of our local area. And we're always hiring. So on my team, I'm always looking for good loan officers and good technical mortgage professionals. So if you know of somebody, send them my way. So why would you partner with us? For those of you that don't partner with us yet, is we're very professional. We're an accountable lender. We don't like surprises. We know you don't like surprises. We do the things you would expect we would do, but I'll repeat them anyways. Underwriting approvals, quick or no loan contingencies and closings. We're definitely real people. We're not an internet-based lender. The help with the buyers is we really focus on your buyer leads. We call it no lead left behind. So we really make sure to follow up with them to help them, encourage them to take the next step. We do offer a closing guarantee. We have a free fi. We have true term refis, which is a big topic right now when people are getting ready to refinance as rates hopefully drop soon. We do full client consults with education and all the details for the buyers, and helping with your listings. We love to do financing flyers for you. Either paper versions or the online option. If you have condos and you want the condo complex itself pre-approved, so we know there's no issues and you know what offers you should be taking and what sort of financing could work, we offer that as well. And for our VIP partners, we offer a lender-paid temporary buy-down. I call it the sell like builders do, because builders like to market lower interest rates, the temporary type, when they're selling product. And we can provide flyers with you, and you can even include it in your listing presentation as you're talking about how you might market somebody's house. So the key topics today we're going to talk about is self-employed people. What's the problem? What are the solution? What should you be listening for? And how to market this information. So what's the problem? Well, why self-employed borrowers struggle with traditional lending? Well, one is, small business owners often show low net profit on taxes due to write-offs. And banks and traditional mortgage products only see the tax returns, not the true cash flow. Great buyers we see get denied because their income on paper, meaning on taxes, looks too low. And so what we find is self-employed borrowers face about a 30% higher denial rate than W-2 borrowers. That's a really big number. And for realtors and for us, that means lost deals, lost commissions, and frustrated clients. Now, so what's the solution? Well, we really try to work to turn no's into yeses for the right clients. We don't stop at tax returns. We look at the real cash flow and the business performance. We have portfolio loan programs designed specifically for self-employed buyers. And these are in-house approvals. We're not waiting on some big bank's one-size-fit-all system or some random lender that isn't responsive. Like, we're making these decisions in-house. And the goal is really to make the loan fit the borrower and not the other way around. So our top 3 solutions for self-employed buyers is what we call the bank statement loan. And this is where we're using income from deposits. The P&L loan, this is where we're using income from their current performance, or the 1099 loan. And this is where we're using income from their contract pay. So let's look at the bank statement loan. This is the most common. If we go off to the right, you see that it shows the minimum credit score is 600, loan amount anywhere from 100,000 up to 3.5 million. It's got a 10% minimum down payment. There is no PMI with it if you have less than 20% down. You can use it for a primary residence, a second home, or investment properties. And a buyer will qualify on the allowable deposits on the bank statements with what we call an expense factor, which could be 50%, or it could be something we pull off of a P&L statement, or maybe a CPA confirms the expense ratio. And there are no tax returns needed to qualify. So again, it's for self-employed borrowers who cannot qualify with tax returns. What we use is either 12 to 24 months of bank statements, mostly 12 months, and we use that in place of W-2s or tax documents. And we drive the income based upon the average monthly deposits is how that works. And and it reflects real cash flow from those deposits. And why it helps. Well, write-offs, often reduce the income on paper, and this program doesn't. Bank statement, loans, they really show the true earning power of somebody, and it's ideal for buyers who can't afford a home, you know, with the traditional underwriting standards, but with this program they could. So, something to hear for, I call it a script, but you may be talking to a buyer and you may have to answer back something like, since you're self-employed, you might need to consider a bank statement loan if you have significant tax savings deductions. So I know this comes up a lot with our self-employed people, especially smaller self-employed. So here's an example. We had a client who owned a restaurant cafe. Their 2024 taxes showed $42,000 of net income. If I divide that by the 12 months, that's $3,500 a month of net income. Was not enough to buy the house they wanted. If I looked at 12 months of their business bank statements, they averaged $28,000 a month. Huge difference, right? And we qualified them for a $950,000 home purchase, 10% down with a pretty fast close. So that's where this loan comes into play. Now, because their taxes show at a small amount, their business bank statement showed a larger amount, we really spent some time making sure they're comfortable with the monthly payment, just so they have full understanding of that. The other option is that P&L loan. And if you look off to the right here of this slide, everything's pretty much the same there. The 660 credit score on this one, 20% down. But what we look at is we look at a prepared profit and loss statement from either 3 to 12 months. So this is really for self-employed buyers whose taxes don't reflect their current income. And again, it uses a 3 to 12 month profit and loss statement instead of tax returns, because this would reflect real-time business income. So it's great for clients who are on a tax extension, or maybe they're recovering from a slow year. It does help a buyer qualify based upon their current performance, not past filings. And it's definitely a flexible solution when tax returns aren't filed or are just outdated. Kind of a buyer script would be, even if your taxes aren't filed or reflect a down year, my lender can use your current P&L to show the real story. So some buyers will say, hey, my business is growing, so I need to wait to file that with my taxes to qualify. You don't have to do that with this P&L loan. Here's an example. A tech contractor had a slow 2024, but his 2025 year-to-date P&L showed $180,000 in net profit. So using a CPA signed P&L to calculate income, he bought a $1.25 million home with 15% down. Great example and a possible situation that we may run into in our market. The third one that I was going to go over is a 1099 only loan. Again, off to the right, kind of similar things. This is 600 credit score, 10% down, no PMI, and we qualify using 90% of the previous 1 or 2 years of W-2 of 1099s. Again, no tax returns are needed to qualify. So this is often for independent contractors and gig workers. It uses 1 to 2 years of the 1099 forms that a borrower would have received instead of the full tax return. So we're just looking at the 1099s. It's also great for realtors, consultants, sales professionals, insurance agents, some financial planners, delivery drivers. It really helps because it's perfect for buyers who have some complex taxes or significant deductions, but strong 1099 income. And it's also a good solution when taxes aren't filed or are outdated. So again, we would take the total 1099 and we would use 90% of that 1099 as their income. We assume 10% expense factor. Now, a script to a buyer might be, if you earn 1099 income and don't want to wait until tax time, or you wrote off lots of expenses, we may be able to qualify you now. Now, here's an example. A realtor got $240,000 under 1099 last year. After $130,000 in write offs, her taxable income dropped to $110,000, not enough for the home she wanted. Instead, we used 90% of her 1099 income to qualify her. Loan was approved, 1.1 million purchase price, just 10% down, and again, no tax returns were required. Great example. Now, some tools and resources is kind of what to listen for in conversations. I'm still waiting to file my taxes. My CPA said I wrote off too much this year. My business is doing great, but my taxes just don't really show that. I'm on a tax extension right now, haven't filed my taxes. I don't think I'll qualify. I just started working 1099. My income looks low on paper, but my cash flow is strong. My bank said I don't qualify even though I make good money. So, really, the tip here is when you hear anything like this, flag it and connect your client with us early. And we likely have a program that fits their situation to help them. So kind of here's where we look at self-employed and what the solutions are. Bank statements. So we're looking at 12 to 24 months of statements. It's good for business owners with some strong cash flow. Just need 10% as a down payment for a primary residence. The P&L only, this is a CPA basically signed. It could be an enrolled agent or other tax pro, but it's somebody else is providing the P&L along with 1 month of their bank statement. It's good for seasonal income, tax extension people. Again, 10 to 15% is the minimum down generally on those. For the 1099 only, this is 1 to 2 years of the 1099. So the last 1 to 2 years is all we need. It's good for contractors, agents, consultants, insurance people. Minimum down payment, 10%. Now, how can you market this? So we know there's this great program which kind of helps self-employed people, to document their income in different ways than taxes. So we can provide you co-branded tools and content to help you grow your business this way. If you're looking for some quick things, you can go to my link tree. So you can start out by going to my Instagram bio, which is at the.sullivan.group. And then in the bio, you'll see our link tree. And at the bottom of the link tree, there's realtor resources. And one is information from this webinar. The things we can provide to you would be flyers for open house for self-employed buyer flyers, social media graphics and captions that you can post. We can get you scripts for reels or videos. We can even, write a little blurb for your emails or your newsletters. And what you find on Linktree through my Instagram bio, you'll see some examples of that you can, you feel free to use or ask us to make some edits if you want some changes to it. Let us help you become a trusted advisor for self-employed buyers. To me, the first step is, think about your typical buyer profile and how that, this could fit with that. So do you typically run into people that are self-employed? And if so, do they own big companies, medium, small companies? Do you hear them talking about having issues qualifying for a mortgage? So you've got some options now for that. We are very easy to introduce to your clients. You're welcome to share their information with us and we'll reach out. You can do a joint email or text introduction. That's great. If you happen to be on your computer screen and you can scan that QR code, that brings us right to our booking thing where they can book time on my calendar, which is fine. Happy to help that way as well. And some of the other resources we provide to our realtors is we offer networking happy hours where we bring together a group of local professionals. It'd be professionals in the real estate space, CPAs, attorneys, financial planners, just to create a networking environment so we can get to know different people. I love to do education, so we do ongoing buyer webinars. So if you ever have buyers that are looking for some education, we offer those on demand. Realtor webinars similar to this. We do other lunch and learns in person. On our weekly basis, we do send out a weekly email on Friday called The Deal that always has some information in there, and it will also talk about some of our education events. And I do a voicemail drop on Thursdays to kind of give you a quick update on where rates are and just gets you some information if clients are asking you. So if you're not getting the deal or the weekly market update via voicemail, feel free to reach out to us. My cell phone is 925-789-0065, and I'll make sure to have you on our list. Thanks for joining us. And if we can do anything for you, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Thanks.